Hey guys, and welcome back to a quick video on the Arcade1Up machines that are getting a lot of recognition lately on various videos and social media. I kind of held off on giving my thoughts on these since, one, I hadn't seen one in person, and two, I considered myself a little biased with regards to my opinions. I just decided today I really didn't want to hold back anymore, so here are my thoughts. And by now you probably already know what these are. Arcade1Up is offering machines that are sort of an IKEA DIY arcade cabinet available for consumer purchase. There are 6 offerings, I believe, although the Final Fight Capcom cabinet seems to be on hold, but regardless, you have 5 other options to choose from right now until that's straightened out. So my question when I first saw these announced was, who are these for? What is the target audience for these machines? When I decided I wanted to get an arcade cabinet, there was one main driving factor behind that decision: authenticity. I think of the way an arcade machine's CRT looks and feels, the glow and the scan lines. I think of running the original boards in that machine because ports I can already play on consoles, and finally I think of just the ruggedness of the cabinet and the industrial grade panel and the buttons, the stick. Those are probably the top 3 most important attributes that comprise authenticity in an arcade machine to me. Now, there is no way that anyone was ever going to reproduce original boards for these machines. That's just completely unfeasible and not cost effective. You could even make the argument that it isn't necessary because despite these running via emulation, this is still presumably licensed emulation, or something that has been signed off on by the original developer. But even still, you're asking me to concede that, which is okay, but still a small ding in the authenticity department. This reminds me of when I was a kid and people used to buy those Ferrari kits to build around their Pontiac Fieros. Sure, it looked a lot like you were driving a Ferrari and you could still drive from point A to point B, it was functional, but deep down the actual guts were still just a Fiero. Next up, do we even need to discuss the CRTs? There's no way anyone is going to start mass producing these behemoths again, and I would suspect that fewer people than ever are interested in carrying or moving one around. It just was never going to happen. Still, that is a main component of an arcade machine, and if original PCBs were number 1 on the authenticity list, a CRT is probably number 1A. So again, someone in my position has to concede this. Now that's 2 strikes. And then finally, we come to the arcade cabinet itself. And for me, this is where the wheels just came completely off. Over the course of PAX West, the Metal Jesus Rocks crew posted some pictures posing with the Street Fighter version of this cabinet. Now, I've actually seen one in person myself, and I was shocked. But these really show off just how tiny the Arcade1Up machines really are. I love my Japanese candy cabs, and these things make those look like giants. I don't get this, and I haven't checked the math on this, but the 3/4 size claim likely implements either rounding of numbers or is bullshit. For me, this has to be the 3rd and final strike. Yeah, I know there's a riser available for these things, and that too is bullshit. Just make them the proper height to begin with so we don't have to sit on the floor to play them. These machines offer nothing in terms of authenticity so far as I'm concerned. So now that that rant is done, you're probably saying, Joe, these were never meant for someone like you. Much like Nintendo's classic editions, these were never meant to appeal to original hardware enthusiasts and collectors. These are aimed at gaming fans who don't have arcades. Are they though? Gaming fans that would willingly drop $400 to emulate games on an LCD? Because that sounds an awful lot like what I suspect many of them are already doing with their current setups. So now you're just asking them to play on that same setup inside of some particle board and pay $400 for it. That just doesn't sound like something I'd think most people would be up for. You know, the cost benefit there just feels off. The last potential market I can think of would be the non-collectors, non-current gamers, no RetroPies or consoles in the house, someone who just stumbled across these walking through Target, had the nostalgia bug, remembers playing these back in the day, and decides They want to try and relive that. Sure, I get that, but how many of those people are there though? And how many of them are willing to drop $400 on a whim? I just can't imagine that that's a large market at all. So my conclusion is, I don't know that I fully understand who these are actually for. I can tell you they certainly aren't for the purists. The non-arcade but still gaming crowd seems iffy, as they aren't really having any unfulfilled needs being met by these, and casual Joes seem like they would be far and few between. What I do suspect happened though is that the gaming market who was interested in these initially probably didn't quite recognize just how small these machines actually were until we started seeing real life photos and videos. I've seen a lot of people rethinking this in various social media posts, and that's too bad because I think with the correct sizing and scaling of the cabinet, they could have been a nice compromise. Overall, in my personal opinion, these are just way too small, and my prediction is you will see these start popping up on Craigslist in about a year or so for half the price because they aren't really scratching the itch someone has to own an actual arcade machine. So with all that has been said in this video, your money is your money to do whatever it is you wish to do with. If buying one of these makes you happy and you know you'll get enjoyment out of it, you should definitely get one. Don't let any assholes like me tell you otherwise. And in fact, drop a comment down below and let me know if you bought one or are interested in buying one, and tell us why. I think that's all my thoughts for today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you all next time. Later, guys.